Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the 26th day of March, 2025. I hope you're safe and healthy today. Hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day are doing their best to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are also victims of pornography and child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts that create the demands that make these industries exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 600,000 men, women, children, senior citizens, families, and veterans homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game at Madison Square Garden last night. The New York Knicks defeated the Dallas Mavericks 128-113. It wasn't really as close as that. The 15-point lead is not indicative of how far the game got out of reach. The Knicks started off slow, but then they regrouped. Tom Thibodeau got in them on their behind in the second half, and they ended up coming out playing Knicks defense and running away with the game. In the first half, they were slow, but it was really Karl Anthony Towns, was completely lost on defense in the first half. In fact, there was a play where Kai Jones was just wide open and Karl Anthony Towns on the other side of the court, not guarding anybody, just guarding space, like the way Juju used to do. And then Jones got the dunk. Of course, Tibbs was not happy with that. So at the end of the first half, it was tied 68 all. Then they came out the second half, and they really started applying pressure on the defensive end of the floor, and they won the game going away. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby was the MVP last night. Grown-ass man, 35 points, 3 of 6 from 3, for 15 to 24. Playing, of course, staunch defense, had 2 steals. Mikal Bridges was steady, as he usually is, 21 points. He was 9 of 14 from the field. Karl Anthony Towns, triple-double. Of course, Josh Hart, Mr. Hustle, triple-double. Cameron Payne filled in well for Jalen Brunson and Deuce McBride. He scored only 2 points, but he was steady, plus 19 and 5 assists. The Knicks won this game because they played tight defense in the third quarter and they moved the basketball. Speaking of moving the basketball, Tyler Kolek, really, this is his passing ability and his court vision is what gets him in the league. But last night, he played 19 minutes, and 3 of it was garbage time. So he really played about 16 minutes in the rotation. He played the best defense I've seen him play since he's been in the league. Really stayed in front of his man. He was part of that third quarter where the Knicks really clamped down on Dallas and put, forced their will on Dallas. Kolek, and again, people in Knicks Nation, there's the delusional moniker because people get carried away. He is going to be competing for rotation minutes next season. He's played last night because both Brunson and Deuce were out. And if that continues to be the case, then he'll continue to get some minutes. But once they're both back, he's out. He's out of the rotation. Now, you should listen to Ian Begley's mailbag from yesterday. That would be from March 25th, because he said the same thing that I'm telling you right now. Okay? But the future looks good. Kolek is finally learning to play NBA level defense. And all of you that talk about there's no development on the Knicks, stop smoking crack, because development is happening. It's happening in the G League, and it's happening in practice, as Thibodeau always says, for those of you who want to be coaches that don't know what the hell you're talking about. But Kolek is developing. He's building up his body. He's working really hard, and it's showing. This summer is going to be very interesting. Summer League. I can't wait to see it, because you're going to see Ariel Haporti, you're going to see Tyler Kolek, you're going to see McCullough, and you're going to see Daddy A, and those guys are all getting better in the Knicks culture and in the Knicks system. I'm expecting Kolek to push for Shamit's spot next year. Okay, he's going to push for Shaman's spot. He's not going to take minutes from Brunson, and he's for damn sure not taking minutes from Deuce. So he's pushing for Payne's spot next year, and I think he's got a good shot at getting it. Especially if he continues to show the grit on the defensive end. He shot 1 for 3 yesterday, which I kind of expected from him, because when you're putting serious effort to play NBA level defense, it's very difficult to also put serious effort to score, which is why what we see Anunoby doing, what we see Bridges doing, what we see Hart doing on a regular basis is amazing. Most people do not appreciate the two-way play of these guys, because it is very difficult to play NBA level defense and then produce on a high level on offensive end in the NBA. There's very few players that could do it. One of the reasons the Knicks are a contender is because they got 3 guys that could do that. Okay, Kolek is typical of the league. He got into the league because he's got elite court vision and he could pass the ball. But as far as two-way player, not yet. And maybe never, but he can definitely break the rotation because his defense is getting to the point where it's NBA level and he's good enough to play. Okay, and once he gets to playing, he's going to be pretty good, because, like I said, the Knicks had 40 assists last night. I can't remember the last time they had 40 assists in a game. And part of that was Kolek's 9. Kolek had 9 assists. Hart and KAT had 11 apiece. That was the major part of the assists right there. That's 31 just between those 3 guys. So Kolek's ability to move the basketball and see the floor is huge. So that's going to come into play next year. Like I said, he will be taking Cameron Payne's spot, I think, next year. Cameron Payne will be not a Knick next year, because this is the reason why. Most of you think you could just stack up players on the bench and they'll just sit there. Guys want to play, okay? Kolek wants to play. Payne wants to play. So somebody's not going to play. There's only a 9-man rotation. So that being the case, Payne is on a 1-year deal right now. If he comes back, he's going to have to be resigned to sitting behind Tyler Kolek, because Tyler Kolek's going to play. I think he's going to end up being Payne's minutes next year, which means, this is what it means. He'll get about 8 to 12 minutes a game. And when both Brunson and Deuce are out, he'll start, just like Payne, okay? Now, they're going to need another guy that's going to be behind him, just like he's behind Payne right now. They're going to need another guy that's going to be able to step in at that point guard spot when 2 guys are hurt, which you could see happen now. Brunson is still going to get 65 games, and Deuce, I don't know how many games he's played, but I'm pretty sure if I look it up, I'm going to see that he played at least 70 games, or he's going to have played by the time the season's over, at least 70 games. So let me look at this just to make sure. I know he's in the 60s already. Let's double check. Well, he's actually played 59 games. He played 59 games. He started 8. That is Deuce McBride. So he'll be back and he'll play 65 games. And Brunson will play 65 games. So you're talking about 17 games where somebody's going to be needed. As I was telling you at the beginning of the year, nobody plays 82 games except for Mikal Bridges, and that's a rarity. So you're going to need guys, the backup guys. Everybody gets a chance to play. Not everybody plays regular rotation minutes, though. Kolek right now is not playing regular rotation minutes, but I think he's going to next year. If he continues to do what he's been doing, I could see him definitely taking Payne's minutes next year. But he was really good last night, defensively especially. He really did a good job, and he really helped move the basketball. And that was the key. The Knicks did not dominate the boards. In fact, neither team dominated the boards. They did not do that. And that was one of the keys we were talking about. They did not keep their turnovers low. The Knicks had 14 turnovers last night. They did not keep their turnovers low. And that was another one of the keys, keeping the ball under control. They did turn over Dallas quite a bit as well, but, it was Dallas coming off the second night of back-to-back. You kind of expect that, especially with what they've been dealing with in terms of injuries. So you kind of expect that from them. But they turned the ball over 16 times. The Knicks turned the ball over 15 times. Both of them too much. But the Knicks played good enough defense, and then with the ball movement, 40 assists, they win the game. And this is the thing. Thibodeau is always talking about find a way to win. So we would have liked them to have 10, turnovers or less. We would have liked them to get 40 rebounds. But since they didn't, win the game. And 40 assists and third quarter stifling defense, they win the game. And that's what we want. Now, tonight, they got a real team coming in here in the Clippers, who just beat them a couple weeks ago in LA. Of course, they was on the second night of back-to-back. No Mitchell Robinson that night. But still, they coming in here to win because the Clippers are tied with Juju and them in Minnesota for the 7th seed. Both of those teams want to get out the play-in, and both of those teams are only a half game away from Golden State, who's been missing Stephen Curry, and they haven't been able to take advantage of that. But every one of those three teams is fighting to stay out the play-in. So they're all going to be scrambling to try to get this dub tonight. The Knicks got to be ready. We will have Mitchell Robinson tonight. I don't know the extent of Miles McBride's injury. I only know that he's listed as day-to-day. He is questionable for today. I don't know if he's going to play or not. I would like him to be healthy, just like we need Brunson to come back healthy. We need McBride healthy. In the playoffs, it's really all about defense. It's all about ball control. It's all about half court. You need Deuce in the playoffs. So I'm hoping he plays tonight, but I don't want him to play if he's not 100% healthy. I do feel like, though, he should be 100% ready to play in Milwaukee on Friday. Milwaukee just lost Damian Lillard for an extended period of time. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but I think he's got a blood clot. There was some sort of blood issue that Dame had. We hope that he gets better. He said he's been diagnosed with a deep thrombosis in his right calf and will be sidelined indefinitely. That's some sort of blood clot he's got in his leg. So they got to be very careful with him. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but he's not going to be around for a minute. So for the Bucks, they got Giannis, they got Lopez, they got, Kyle Kuzma, Taurean Prince, but they're going to have to start Kevin Porter Jr. at the point guard spot. Kevin Porter Jr. could ball. It's just that his brain is a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get from him. But that's what they got right now. And that is a big blow to the Bucks. What I'm saying is, it'd be nice if Deuce can come back Friday against the Bucks. I'd like to see him play tonight, but if he has to sit tonight, that's fine. Come back against Bucks, and let's get this done. Tonight, though, I think we'll be all right. If Deuce does not play, it'll be a little tougher because, like I said, the Clippers are better than Dallas. Put it that way. The Clippers ain't Dallas, so they come and they're in a tight playoff race. So this is going to be every game is important for some teams that are in the play-in situation. The playoffs are starting now because they don't want to be in the play-in. So they're trying to fight and scratch to make sure they're not in the play-in. Clippers are one of those three. You're talking really about Minnesota, the Clippers, and Golden State. They're trying to fight for that final spot in the top 6. All three of them. And so for them, the playoffs begin now. And so for the Clippers, Harden is day to day, and he's questionable. So we don't know if he's playing tonight. I'm going to assume he plays. Chris Dunn is their shooting guard. He's their Deuce, the defensive dude. Norman Powell is going to be back. Of course, you got Kawhi and you got Zubac. And they got Ben Simmons, who had a good game the other day. So they're going to be tough on the boards. There's no doubt about it. We need Mitchell Robinson today. Zubac gives KAT problems. KAT is not Mitchell Robinson. He's not the defensive player. Matter of fact, if you had a scale and the worst defensive center was on one side, and then you got, let's say Gobert on the other side, right? KAT is leaning past, if Gobert is a 10 and the other guys are 1, let's say it's Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter was horrible on defense. So Enes Kanter is a 1, and let's say Gobert is a 10. KAT is around 5, leaning toward 4.5. That's where he's at on that scale. And so a guy like Zubac gives him trouble. Okay, KAT is just not that dude defensively. He's not as bad as Enes Kanter, but he's not Mitchell Robinson either. Mitchell Robinson be closer to 8 on that scale defensively. So we need Mitch Rob tonight is what I'm saying. Zubac will give KAT fits is what I'm saying. Precious is going to be needed is what I'm saying. Now, yesterday, Ian Begley said that when they get to the playoffs, he expects Precious to be the odd man out of the rotation. I disagree with that. And the reason I disagree, I agree with everything Ian Begley said, including Tibbs does not want to make major changes to his starting lineup and his rotation coming into playoffs. That's true. And Tibbs said, you got to have a reason to make a change. That's what he said. And that is the case with him. He doesn't like to make changes unless a reason is presented before him. And what the reason I will see is having Mitchell Robinson play next to Karl Anthony Towns and having Hart come off your bench because of the height, because of the defense. Now, if that happens, if Tibbs makes the change and brings Mitchell Robinson into the starting lineup once he's ready, Precious is going to be major key coming off that bench. He's your height. He's your backup to both KAT and MitchRob, as well as Hart being the backup to the four of KAT as well. So you're going to need both of those guys if that's the case. Now, if Tibbs does not change his rotation and he keeps the starting five the same, and now you're going to have Mitchell Robinson, Deuce coming off your bench, okay, then Precious might be the odd man out. He's going to get some minutes. He won't get major rotation minutes coming into the playoffs. But I'd like to see Precious get rotation minutes. Reason being is because he hasn't been himself, but I've been seeing flashes of it like we saw yesterday, just flashes of it. But I feel like as we get closer to the playoffs, he's going to get more closer to himself. And I would like to get that defense and rebounding in the rotation. And plus, I think most of us can see that with MitchRob starting with KAT, that's a much better defensive team than even, and Josh Hart plays good defense, but it's the height, it's the rebound, it's the rim protection that Mitchell Robinson brings that makes all the difference here. So we'll see, but that's the only tweak I can see happening. Some of you delusional fools are talking about bringing Mikal Bridges off the bench. Please stop smoking crack. That pipe is dangerous for you. No, Mikal Bridges is starting, and he's going to continue to start. So let's stop with that foolishness. Then Deuce starting means somebody's got to be out. The only person that will be out is Josh Hart. I don't think that's happening. So I can see Mikal and OG on the wings with Gato or Mitchell Robinson. If Gato comes out for a break, not that he wouldn't be starting, but for a break, I can see that. But that ain't happening either. Those are lineups that can be run, but you're talking about your starting lineup? No. So you're going to keep the same starters unless the only change is if Mitchell Robinson goes in the starting lineup. Then Josh Hart goes to the bench and Precious becomes very important in Mob Deep. Otherwise, MitchRob becomes Precious on Mob Deep. You still got Deuce, you still got Payne, and you go with the flow and roll. That's how you do it. But we'll see. I just think we got a little bit more depth with Precious on that in that rotation. That's the only thing I disagree with Mr. Begley. Like I said, he could be very right about this, but we'll see how this works out. Tonight, though, is what's up. It's about tonight. We got to get this dub in Addison Square Garden tonight. Okay, so right now, I want to see MitchRob come back. Right now, I'd like to see Deuce, but if Deuce ain't ready, Tyler Kolek, I'm getting confidence in the boy that I think he could back up Payne. Okay, Payne is doing a more than adequate job. The Knicks are 3-0 when Payne starts. So I like that. I like that number. If he comes out and starts tonight, I think we'll be okay. James Harden is 35 years old, but he's still tough. He's 35. Okay, I mean, he's still good now. I ain't gonna front. But I'd rather see Deuce on his ass, be quite honest with you. But I'll take Payne if necessary. What I don't want to see, though, is Tyler Kolek trying to guard James Harden. That, my friends, would be a disaster. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. But we have to see. So the two weaknesses tonight are KAT's defense with Zubac and the point of attack with Payne or Deuce. If Deuce is there, I'm feeling real good about that. If he's not, and Tyler Kolek's got to come in for Payne at some point, there might be a problem. Those are two weaknesses. Clippers are going to come at the boards. They are. Kawhi Leonard is rough, but I'm not as worried about Kawhi because we got Mikal and OG. Norman Powell is a trick. Norman Powell been a Nick killer. By the way, somebody asked, somebody don't understand what Nick killer means. Nick Killer is an NBA player that plays well against the Knicks, even no matter what team he's on. Okay? There's certain guys that just play well against the Knicks for whatever reason, no matter what teams they're on. Okay? So, Dinwiddie's been on the Nets, Dinwiddie's been on Dallas, Dinwiddie's been on Washington, and each one of those teams, he plays better against the Knicks than everybody else. Okay? Norman Powell, on Toronto or the Clippers, he's dogged the Knicks. He's been playing good against the Knicks no matter what team he's on. Norman Powell is a Knick killer. Okay? Najee Marshall, same thing. When he plays the Knicks, he had 38 last night. It ain't the first time he went off against the Knicks. He's a Knick killer. Okay? There are guys that just play better against the Knicks. Okay? Almost every team has one. Norman Powell is the guy on the Clippers. No matter, like I said, in Toronto he did it. In LA he's done it. He just loves to play against the Knicks, okay? Nick Batum is another guy like that. Nick Batum also, no matter what team he's on, whether it's Philly, the Clippers, or Toronto, or whatever team he's on, he plays better against the Knicks. It is what it is. There's a bunch of guys like that. So Norman Powell's that guy here. He always plays good against the Knicks, which is why I hope McCall's on his defensive game tonight. Got McCall guarding him, Kawhi Leonard, probably Hart gonna guard either Chris Dunn or Harden, and depending on if Deuce is out there, we'll see what happens. But that's the key here. Is Deuce gonna play? If he is, he's got to be healthy. And if he's healthy and he plays, I feel good. I don't feel good without him, but we still got a shot, okay? Because we still got the rest of our guys. And Tyler Kolek, good enough, okay? So let's see what we can do here. Bojan Bogdanovic is a tough cover as well. Derrick Jones Jr. is that utility dude, that Swiss Army knife, and he could jump. He's a pogo stick. Then you got Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons could be All-NBA one night and washed up the next. That's just how he is. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Let's assume he's All-NBA tonight. See, that's why it's going to be tough. You got 6'10" Ben Simmons, 6'8" Derrick Jones. You got 6'5", 6'4" Bogdanovic. They got a nice bench. And they, like I said, they fighting for a spot. This ain't going to be easy, yo. So, Knicks got to come to play tonight. Okay? They got to come to play tonight. If they can win this game tonight, it's going to be huge. This is a big game. I'm not saying it's a must win. It's a big game. Last night was a must win, and they won. Tonight's just a big game. It's a big game. These guys coming to play, and this got to be motivated, ready to go. I think we should see the energy tonight. They didn't look gassed last night. They started slow, but they got sharp. Everybody's looking a little sharp, especially the energy guy is Hart. If he's the bellwether. So if he's got the energy, I think we're in good shape. If Deuce plays, I know he's gonna have it. OG's been had it. So has Mikal Bridges. So I think we'll be all right. I was a little concerned with OG's bloody nose last night. It just kept bleeding. Hopefully he's okay. That was a problem. But it's gonna be a tough game. That's all I'm saying to y'all. It's gonna be a tough game. So don't just expect a blowout and don't get disappointed if they lose the game. It's a game. It's a big game. Let's get this done. Y'all enjoy it. We'll talk later. Shalom.